I'm here with Dr. Michael Melton and then Rebecca Potter from Letcher County, and you have a very interesting project with Heroes on Every Hand. And so, Rebecca, start off and tell us what this project is. Where did you come up with the idea?
Well, Mike is our ideal guy. He comes up with it. We've been working together for the last 2 years, creating documentaries with our students. And he is our person that comes up with our ideals. Last year we focused on more mountain life, growing up in the mountains. And while we did that, we noticed these people are heroes. Their everyday life is heroic. So we decided this year to focus on heroes, and we let the children this time, the students, choose their own hero and do all the interviewing, all the editing, and that sort of stuff.
We got to talking a couple years ago before we did our first documentary, before we filed our first grant proposal. And it's been I'm a history teacher by trade, and we just felt like that so much of our area had been left out. There were so many negative stereotypes, and we wanted to show what was good about the mountain people of our area. And that first documentary, as we created it, we did a lot more. The students were more behind the scenes as far as production and direction and editing film and those types of things, and not as directly involved in the interviewing process because a lot of them weren't really comfortable with it. And then as I was doing a lot of the interviews and me and Miss Potter were going through and cutting the good spots out of it, and the kids were helping and making recommendations, we realized that there's so many people in this area that had done great things, but they never told anybody what great things they did because they thought everybody did those things because that was just the way that they were raised. And we started talking over the summer again about doing another proposal and trying to do it again. And KVEC leadership administration was really excited about us doing another. And so we started looking at it, and I started trying to brainstorm, well, what do we really want to do? And I thought, well, we want the kids to be more involved. That's the whole purpose of this, finding innovations in rural education and get the children more actively engaged. So we got to thinking, well, if they interview the heroes that are in their life, and in many cases, they've got relationships with those individuals, but they've never really sat down in many cases and talked to them to the depth of which we talked to our grandparents and our parents because we didn't have all the distractions back when we were growing up. Yeah. So you heard the same stories over and over again. Every time they told the story, they were such great storytellers. It was like the first time you'd ever heard it. You hung on every word. So that was kind of our hope that our kids today in the 21st century in Central Appalachia would go and talk to the people that were important in their lives and all of a sudden gain a greater appreciation of those heroes that they already believe they're heroes, but now to see that they even did greater things than what they really thought that they did, or the hardships that they've come through, and they still have this positive outlook and this lively hope and all these types of things. And that's what we really wanted to get the kids to get out of this. And I think as you hear the testimony of the children, and they talked about this morning in Ms. Potter's, how much of a connection that they've made with that person in their life.
So that's a very important thing, this connection, feeling better about their family's heritage and the heritage of the mountains. What are some other skills that they gain because of this?
Oh my goodness, things that I will never be able to do probably in my lifetime. Just the editing software to produce these films is so difficult, so intense. So we had some former students from last year that participated. They came back and they helped students learn those skills. And they've learned, of course, a lot of interpersonal skills, being able to talk to people, communicate with others. I had one student this morning who said, she thought twice about taking the class because she knew she'd have to get out and speak to people. And she wasn't very social and very shy and quiet. And now she has learned to do that and do it in a professional manner.
So you've had a successful project. Is there a way you're going to build on this success and do something else this next year?
Well, the goal is when we first started the discussion in the summer 2 years ago, was that to just continue collecting this oral history because I realized so many times in my life as I've gotten older that I always thought as a young man that as a child that, well, I'll remember this story all my life. I've heard it all these times, and it's so vivid. But we know as time goes on, our memories fade in some cases, and I come back now and think how I wish I'd taken a cassette recorder in 1976 or 77 and recorded this story for the posterity of it. And I think we've got no excuse now with all the technology that we have, that every child that we have basically has a smartphone on their side that has a movie camera right in it, that you can't record those moments digitally and they're there forever. And I think we've already got a pretty good collection library of interviews, and we're going to continue to do that. If we never apply for another grant and are never funded again, that doesn't. We've got the equipment now and the technology and the knowledge to be able to continue to adding to that. So that's the hope of it. And when Ms. Potter's gone and when I'm gone, we really hope that somebody else will just pick that up and begin to continue to collect that, because I think sometime down the future we'll have a wonderful archive of memories that people can go back and look and know what 2017, 2018, what were issues, what was important about these individuals. And I think that's important because we've lost so much of our history because we just take it for granted.
And the kids are starting to brainstorm now about what are we going to do next year. As we were working this week in the studio and editing and doing that kind of thing, they're like, well, why don't we do this next year? Or what do you think about this project? So that's really exciting too. They're starting to look ahead to the future.
And they now have perspective. 2 years ago when we started this process and we started talking about cinematography and doing interviews and positioning the camera and maybe using multiple cameras and when you get done with an interview, not stopping at that moment the video, but let the video run a little while longer and pick up some of the things that happen afterwards. Little things like that they would have never thought of. Now they think of that they're not only doing for us, but they're doing in their own lives. And of course with Facebook Live and those types of things, now they're doing a lot of those things on their own, so they're experimenting on their own, and that's the whole hope of innovation in rural education, is to get these children doing 21st century skills that make them employable.
Right.
Well, hey, this is a great project, and thank you for all what you're doing, and thank you for being on the program.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for asking.
Okay.